Hi, everybody, and welcome to one more of the LNOD Roundtable's Knowledge Series. This time with a difference, as we call these the Knowledge Accelerator series for mid and small size organizations. And what you're attending right now is the very first in this series. So welcome everyone one more time. And for those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Dr. Sujaya Banerjee, and I'm the founder of the Learning and Organizational Development Roundtable. Our conversation today is about boosting employee experience through integrated HR technology. And we'll arrive at that as soon as I've completed taking you through a bit about the Learning and OD Roundtable. And I promise to keep this really brief. This is in the interest of those who are joining us for the first time. The Learning and Organizational Roundtable is an 11-year-old forum. It is a forum of curious learners who are interested in driving strategic change, learning, and innovation inside their own organizations. We have 25,000 plus members. The pandemic has just kind of helped us becoming more global in terms of more membership from across the globe. We have business organizations who are members of the academia, researchers, largely HR, talent, learning, organizational development professionals, corporate communication and marketing professionals, CIOs, who are part of this very vibrant forum called the Learning and Organization Development Roundtable. I'm delighted to introduce you to the Governing Council of the Learning and OD Roundtable. These are all very familiar faces, people who have been huge contributors to the HR community. And I'd be very surprised if you don't know of them already or you haven't interacted with them already. Dr. Akhil Basrai, who's a veteran HR professional, has worked with organizations like Shell and IBM before he set up Akhil Basrai Consulting. Adil Malia, who's also speaker on our panel discussion today, and is the chief executive of the firm. Rajeshwar Upadhyay, the director of Par Excellence, and also the dean of the Academy of Applied Emotional Intelligence, and also faculty at the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. Rajesh Kamath of Chanakya Consulting. He does some really fabulous work in the ancient Indian wisdom space. And for those of you who are interested, he's currently doing a series of programs around this. Myself, I'm the founder of the Learning and OT Roundtable and also the CEO of Capstone People Consulting. Rajesh Padmanabhan of Talavi Business Catalyst, and Manu Wadhwa of Sony Networks India. These are the people who are the wind below our wings, and I'm really excited to be able to introduce all of them to you. We have some more inspiring stalwarts coming in on board from the 1st of September, and I thought we would use this platform to be able to let you know of them. Ritu Anand of Tata Consulting Services, Deborah Hume of Minerva Engagement in the UK, who's a neurosciences and leadership, diversity and inclusion expert. Bosco De Mello, who's an expert in the areas of leadership and polarities, and Gautam Chenani of JSW, President Human Resources and Strategic Initiatives. All of these now add on to our very powerful governing council. And I'm delighted to let you know that Ritu Anand will now lead the Women Leadership Forum of Asia and the Governing Council of the Women Leadership Forum of Asia. We're really excited to be able to make these announcements. For all those who are attending here today, the best transformation stories of Asia post-COVID-19 is our annual study for 2021-2022. So if you do have an incredible story of change and innovation and how your organization drove transformation through COVID times, we want to know of these stories. And we have a very incredible jury that will decide on the winning entries during our seminar and awards evening in the February of 2022. So to know more about this, reach out to the LNOD Roundtable website or reach out to any of the volunteers who got you registered on the program. This is a not to miss, and I recommend strongly that you participate. So on to the program for today, and I'm delighted to let you know that we don't just have a panel discussion that's featuring really incredible stalwarts from the industry, but we are actually going to be using this platform, this opportunity to be able to generate solutions for small size organizations and accelerate their own sort of adoption of technology through the conversations that we have here today. So the idea is to be able to inspire many small organizations to be able to adopt HR technology, and that we use the knowledge session to be able to share experiences, share insights, share hacks, so that we're able to inspire, and accelerate technology, HR integrated technology, especially for small size organizations. So here's what we've planned today. We want to make meaning out of each of the three knowledge series that we've planned as part of the Accelerator series for mid and small size organizations. The idea is to be able to accelerate the quality of human resources, the innovation around human resources, to help you through the experiences of people who've already been there and done that. And we're going to start today right at the start by being able to talk about integrated HR technology by hearing it from people who've already been through this experience, so that you're able to learn from it, ask questions, and we're able to also take some of these insights away to be able to help people who can create the products and services to be able to help you accelerate change within your own organization using technology. So this is the perfect time to be able to introduce the the people who we've associated with to be able to present today's knowledge series to you, which is Quess Corp. And, we will shortly involve them as we ask you a couple of questions. We will ask particularly the small size organizations who are attending today to be able to participate in a short survey that we will ask everyone else to be able to fishbowl. And what we will do is to be able to debrief what responses we get from the small size organizations so that everyone can join in debrief and help them with the responses and to the questions that we're asking in the survey, which will help generate solutions, help generate ideas. Quess Corp is interested in being able to create a solution for small size organizations. So this is going to all in all help in terms of being able to provide insights and much required solutions to people from small size organizations who are participating with us today. So it's not like we've ever made these divisions between mid-size and small size and large size. We really have been one large community. But the reason we thought of the Knowledge Accelerator series was so that we are able to provide the benefit of what it is that the larger organizations or the mid-size organizations are already doing, so that we can help small-size organizations who also aspire to be able to adopt and use, sort of integrated technology and high-quality technology that is already benefiting the larger organization. This becomes one more wave of being able to adopt technology, to be able to automate, to be able to accelerate, and to be able to overall improve employee experiences within small size organizations. So if I've laid out the agenda, I want you to know that you must, particularly in this session, stay till the end to be able to help facilitate the debrief that comes out of the survey that the small size organizations are going to be participating in. So we're really going to try and make the most of the time that we have together. So let's get down to talking to the very outstanding panelists that we've lined up here for you today. And like I said, the topic of our conversation here is boosting employee experience through integrated HR technology. And to be able to help present this, we've got very outstanding 5 panelists. I'm going to try and call them out. Adil Malia, I don't think requires an introduction. He's been part of very large organizations like Godrej and GE and Alphatem, and lastly Coke before he was President Human Resources at the SR Group. Adil now leads the firm. He has versatile experience in the domains of people management, change management, and leadership. He's also been the pioneer of being able to drive an integrated HR technology platform way back over a decade ago when we worked for the first time with SuccessFactors in India, where SuccessFactors actually executed a conglomerate solution for the first time in India. Adil's been very significant as part of that journey, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to recall and recount some of that today. Next, we've got Vasudevan Narasimha. And Vasu, I'm really excited to be able to host you again at the Learning and OD Roundtable. Thank you for joining us today. Vasu is the founder of Blue Tech Talent Plus LLP and Bluebirds Advisory LLP, Stanford Seed Consultant and a startup mentor. He's a thought leader in the digital HR space and a digital evangelist. He has led the E2E digital transformation of HR and is regarded as an expert in readying organizations for change and for digitization. It's really a pleasure to have Vasu on board here today. Next, I'd like to invite Jayashree Chaudhary, Chief Talent Officer of Ketchum Sampark Private Limited. This is a very interesting, professional PR services firm. And Jayashree's done some really incredible work in terms of being able to adopt HR technology for this organization, which in India has less than 200 employees and is a small size organization. We're hoping to be able to learn from her experiences. She's a certified management professional in human resources and has an extensive background in HR generalist affairs. She initiated the HR mandate for India's first corporate hospital chain, Wokhart Hospital, and her achievements have largely focused around developing and implementing HR mandates for organizations like Myco Bosch, UB Group, VLCC, Satyam Computers, and of course, Ketchum Sampark PR, which is where she works currently. I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to have on board Vignesh Rengasamy. co-founder, head of product and technology at Heptagon Technologies. Vignesh is the co-founder, the head of product and technology at Heptagon, an associate company of Quess Corp. Vignesh also heads enterprise HR tech product development for Quess Corp, building solutions across hiring, workforce management, and employee benefits, collectively impacting over 1 million users every month. Before starting Heptagon, Vignesh had successfully built and exited multiple technology startups. He was part of founding team that was heading product and strategy at Hubble, a pioneering mobile native advertising platform. He brings with him over 15 years of experience in building and scaling technology companies and is very passionate about building impactful products. So welcome, Vignesh. Really excited to have you on board for the first time at the Learning and OD Roundtable. Next, I'm really delighted to finally invite Risha Saini to the panel. Risha is Senior Manager, HR, Digital and Employee Experience at JSW and has over 12 years of HR consulting and business HR experience. She's worked for JSW for organizations like Deloitte Consulting and S&P Global Capital IQ. Currently, she works for JSW Group, largely as part of JSW Cement organization. She has extensive experience in LNOD, HR tech and talent. She has worked extensively on HCM platforms like SuccessFactors, Workday, and just concluded a very large and successful Darwin box execution for JSW. I'm really excited to have this panel on board. Can we, Rupali, get everyone on the screen, please? So you can stop sharing this. All right, fantastic. So welcome all of you again. I'm going to ask you to unmute as we carry out this panel discussion. Only housekeeping for those attending is please use the chat box to share your ideas, your views on what's been asked, and feel free to be able to post your questions. I'll periodically bring in both so that we're able to involve you more actively in the conversation that we're having here today. So I'm going to start at the start by being able to ask, I'm going to ask Vasu to be able to come in. And you have, Vasu, very extensive experience working with various organizations. You actually inspire them to be able to start off on this journey. I want to know from you, what's in the consideration set when organizations generally, what do you find? What is the ground level reality? What gets them to be? What are the triggers that get them started on this journey? And it'd be wonderful if in your response, you're able to integrate a response for mid-sized firms or small-sized firms. What have been in their consideration sets? Is there anything different between what they consider before they start as compared to when larger organizations embark or start off on this journey? So give us your perspective on this.
Thanks, Sujay. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to join everybody today. Good evening to everybody. In my experience, and it's not been for a very long time, I've been part of large organizations and been associated with technology deployments within large organizations for a long time. But recently, I've been working with the small and medium enterprises and also some of the startups. Now, one of the things that I've noticed is in my assessment, I think there are probably about 6 triggers which probably will enable an organization to start thinking very seriously, right? And these are triggers which create a nearly must-do situation for companies, right? So it's reactive in nature in many ways for many companies. For some of the larger companies, it has been less reactive. There's been an ongoing, platform. Digitization has been there for some time, so the pain of transition has been much lesser. However, the small and medium enterprises, Sujay, if you know, in the last 1.5 years, almost 17 to 20% of MSMEs and SMEs have been impacted very drastically. They've shut down. This is in most emerging markets, whether it is India, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Kenya, you can name any of the small or big emerging markets, 17 to 20% have shut down. Now, so if you look at it from what has been the kind of response in the recent 18 to 24 months, it's been more from a reactive base. So the 6 triggers for me are basically, one is there is a huge and a very quickly changing environment, right? I'm not just talking about the pandemic anymore here. I'm talking about the stakeholders for a business, right? Customers, partners, regulators, investors, the growth that is expected from people by your boards, the acquisition and restructuring that's happening in many companies, and then new competition and collaborators, both, all of them. All of these are creating a situation which is resulting in a very, very astute and a fast changing environment. That's number one. Number two is customers. Customers are redefined what they expect from every company. Okay. And this has not been something that started during the pandemic, it is accelerated during the pandemic, right? Think about a life insurance company that was collecting checks from individuals for monthly premium payments. Suddenly you couldn't collect checks. It's a question of survival for you as well, because there's no money flow coming in. And it's also a question of policy elapsation for these people. So payment mechanisms became huge. So the fintech really came to the fore during this period. Whether you look at fintech, whether you look at distribution networks, supply chains, all of them had to grapple with taking a product to the market and getting the money back to the organization. That's the second challenge. And also the experience that the customer wanted, which has been part of a lot of the marketing folklore for a long time, but it just changed drastically and dramatically in terms of the connect which was happening digitally. The third one, I think, is really about new businesses and new models. Vignesh's business, for example, a completely new business focused on blue collar employees. Who would have thought you would go digital with blue collar employees, right? And Vignesh, I don't want to steal your thunder. You've got a story to tell. I know that, but at the end of the day, that kind of a business cannot operate with a traditional hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right. The single parent to single child, boss to subordinate is dead. Right. Organizations now work with very, very complex, team formations. You're part of multiple teams at any given point in time, right? New roles are getting created, chief growth officer, chief digital officer. These things require you to look at your organization very differently. That's number two, okay? And if you are in a MSME or a new tech startup trying to scale, the roles that you're required to play are much more unique and much more specific. Technology, I don't need to talk about it. All of us know how we are all impacted by it. Established businesses, industries, brick and mortar companies are all getting challenged hugely, right? That's one. Fifth one is really knowledge management and employee experience. Right? A lot of people have actually tried to give this up and not really look at it. Employee experience, we didn't start addressing it digitally till recently, but we've been addressing EX for quite some time. Right? User experience, employee experience is not something new to the HR world, not something new to a corporate world, but that was more in terms of creating the right touch points that where the magics and the tragics are being trapped, we are enhancing the magics and reducing the tragics. The last one really is the war for talent today, right? You can talk about great resignations and all of that stuff. I mean, that will come and go. It's going to be a very small blip in the long corporate life. But the last one is going to be the war for talent. If you have to create the right experience for employees, you've got to do this. So these 6 triggers in my mind would be something that we should really look at from an organization perspective. I think for each entrepreneur, it's very different. He has a lot of constraints he works with, but these 6 will trigger the show. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I think you've tried recapping it. I'm just going to ask whether you want to nuance this response for small size organizations. Which one would stand out of these 6 that you just spoke about?
Oh, the customers one, straight away. The customers, the regulatory, all of that. I mean, we sometimes think that a small organization operates in a small geography. The answer is no. Small organizations also operate in multiple geographies. I know of a 1,200 crore company in India which operates in more than 10 geographies across Latin America, Africa, and they are present in the West Indies. And you wonder why they are there. But the ability of an entrepreneur, Indian entrepreneur, to smell an opportunity and to encash it is huge. So they are not restricted by the physical limitation of the boundary of India. They're really going out, right? Whether it is that or whether it is smaller organizations, the geographical dimension has completely changed. Right? So they deal with multiple regulators. They deal with multiple situations. Take the case of the COVID itself, right? I mean, I was part of an app that had about, not even an app, it's a WhatsApp, 250 HR people on it. And funnily, you won't believe it, the sheer changes to the government orders, requiring interpretations, understanding by geography. Take Coke. Coke was present in so many cities. Take any of these people. They are dealing with multiple situations, right? Those are big organizations. Take a small organization which is selling its wares across all these places or manufacturing in multiple locations. Even a 500 crore, 200 crore organization suffers the same. So from a small and medium organization, your challenges are not different. They are more complex and more compounded because you don't have the resilience that a larger organization brings in terms of manpower, resources, and capabilities to do this. So the triggers are not different. It's the amplitude of the trigger's impact, which is different.
Right, right. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Adil. And Adil, same question for you. What do you think is in the consideration set? We did work together on Success Factors so many years ago. I'm just keen to know what do you see as triggers? Because you have persisted with your interest and passion on technology even through consulting. So what are you seeing as triggers within organizations? What do you see generally as triggers? I typically ask you to add on to Basu's perspectives here.
Sure, I will add on. But, Sujaya, my first hour question, whenever there are organizations seeking advice, in the first hour, I tell them, can you please give me your manpower number? And I take it from 3 different sources. I take it from the payroll, I take it from their HR manager, and I take it from their finance department to try and find out if are they able to tally the number. My experience tells me that oftentimes if you ask them to give the same number, same day, 3 different timings, they will give you 6 different figures. All right. That indicates to me the absence and the integrity of the data that they are working with. And therefore, one of the triggers to me is that what are your chronic problems? And are you having the tools and the techniques to be able to, in the future, tide over these current challenges and problems? Or are you going to continue playing around with 6 different numbers, depending on which number is favorable to you at which point of time?
Right.
The number 2 is, are you able to challenge your chronic problems? All right. There are certain chronic problems which historically prevail in an organization in the space that you're operating. Does your system have the ability to tide over those chronic problems? Third is your organization able, with the existing tools that you are operating in, is it able to scale up to your business plan next level? So in business plans, every organization has a next level strategic plan, 3-year plan. But the tools that they are using are so outdated and antiquated that we want Mesopotamian systems to be delivering success in the digital times, which is never going to happen. Therefore, are you able to scale up the enterprise to its next level with the tools that you are having? Do an assessment of that. Is the design of the structure an inclusive design till now? Or does everyone know what the problem is, but the structure still continues to reflect the same problem? And every ordinary man, from the chairman to the watchman, know what the problems are, but yet the tools have not been changed to be able to tide over those challenges.
Right.
The most important is your system in touch empathetically with the people's emotions? Because oftentimes the algorithms available in the technology and the products and application can always be upgraded, can always be modified, can always be add on. There can always be subsystems which can sit on top of some system. But the problem is not with the algorithms. The problem is with the empathetic application. We believe in HR that empathy is to be used after technology is put in place and it creates injuries. So we think that empathy is about applying first aid to people who have suffered the ill effects of new technology brought in, versus empathy at the designing stage. Are they doing that? And that's a trigger. Is your system causing the injuries to the people which are empathetic? So what is important is, do I need it? Which is the question that most people have. Do I want to make that investment? Because multiple challenges of resources are always going to continue. So do I need it? Do I surely need it to fulfill my purpose? Is the transitory point from a discovery stage of do I need it question to a desirable stage of dream to say that I need it to fulfill my purpose.
Okay. I think that's, sort of very valuable insights there to be able to reflect, especially for organizations still waiting to be able to make the decision around technology. I'm going to turn this over to Vignesh, and I'm going to say that easily, in the last sort of 2 decades, really, technology has been the single biggest disruptor in the context of change. Just got accelerated during the pandemic situation. Tell me a bit about how tech-led recruitment solutions changed. I mean, you have a game changer solution that you introduced, and you have a wonderful story to say about it, to kind of share with our audiences. So I'm just going to give you the floor to be able to tell us a bit about tech-led recruitment solutions, and how you disrupted that space during the pandemic?
Sure. There are two parts to my answer. First, as a small business owner myself, so we employ almost 250 people, and I manage the entire technology part for the team. And the second part is I also, in my day job, I manage technology platforms at Quess, which is the largest private sector employer in India. So my perspective comes from being in these both different worlds. So I'll quickly talk about what we discovered working with Quess as an organization. Was that when pandemic struck last year, there became, and Quess was operating in the blue collar space, and hiring became a very big challenge. And usual hiring used to happen, very offline. You go to used to go to tea shops. A recruiter used to travel down. They go to different areas in the city where these audience come to, and talk to them, get them hired, get their information. That's how hiring has been done over a decade. And we were at a place where now that's no longer possible. There's a lockdown. How do you reach out to candidates? How do you then build a database of candidates? So what we did at Quess was to build our own hiring platform called Q Jobs. We launched it last year, and what we wanted to do a little differently was to ensure the system is able to automate a lot of the hiring process by itself. So we started focusing on evaluating candidates to reduce the overall time taken to hire. So we started building in AI-based pre-screening mechanisms, industry for skill verification mechanisms within the platform to ensure that the time to hire comes down at a scale, right? So what became a problem to us, what was a need that we felt, eventually the system got adopted by almost 2,000 plus other small MSME companies. And the feedback that we get from them is the same, right? I don't have a quantity problem. Everybody is able to give me thousands of candidates, but I have a quality problem. How do you give me, if I have to hire 50 people, almost every platform in the world says that I can give you 200 candidates, but I don't need 200 candidates. I just need 50 candidates who are the right fit for the job. That is a bigger challenge that we are trying to address at Quess and through this particular platform to small and large, medium-sized enterprises. Well, taking the flip side, me as a small business owner, especially in the technology sector, a lot has changed in the last 1 year. Unimaginably ways, a lot has changed, especially in the hiring front. We've completely moved into digital hiring technology tools. Right? Our screening mechanism used to be multiple levels of interviews. Now we've brought in a lot of tech tools that are taking care of automatically validating candidates. We've recently piloted an AI-based video platform that is going to automatically do the interview, give us scores based on which we take the call. So in fact, our screening time using these technologies has gone down. So what used to be a very manual process, which these technologies even existed before the pandemic. Right. But this has created the rush to ensure that there is a proper adoption. And in fact, we've not increased. We've almost doubled in size for the last 1 year without increasing the size of the HR team or the recruitment team, primarily because we were able to become tech first.
Right.
Super.
Right. So I'm going to, I'm going to come back to recruitment in a bit. I want to be able to turn this over to Risha and to Jayashree as I bring them into the conversation. Risha, we'll try and bring you in, and Jayashree, I'm going to ask you to be able to join in. Tell me where it started, particularly for your organization. Is it typically the attendance payroll that gets looked at first, because that's essentially foundational to the entire process? So what is the starting point? I want to know what's ground zero, what is level one? How are you actually, sort of deciding on the sequence of the modules, and what has gone into the decision making as you kind of made your choices on being able to execute integrated HR technology? So is it automation initially, and then eventually the benefits of being able to create an integrated platform that goes across the entire HR value chain? I'm keen to know where you start or where you started. Risha, I want you to be able to bring in primarily, and especially for the benefit of those who are from mid and small size organizations in the audience, I want you to bring in the experience perhaps from the smaller parts or smaller organizations in your conglomerate, where there perhaps would be sort of relatable experiences. So tell us where you started. I mean, what was the situation like, and what seemed most important? What is ground zero? What is level one?
Sure. Am I audible now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
So, Prisha, I'm only going to ask you to take one second of a pause as I welcome people who are joining us on LinkedIn Live, because this is being streamed on 2 platforms. It's on Zoom and on LinkedIn Live. So I want to welcome everyone who's joining us on LinkedIn Live. I know there's a large group of people very interested, particularly from mid and small size organizations, for whom we've actually targeted this particular conversation. Of course, everyone else from the other organizations are, as usual, very welcome to be able to learn from this process. I'm sure you're going to take back incredible insights to be able to augment what you're also already doing within your organizations. So with that, over to you, Risha.
Yeah, I'll take the first one, Sujaya, which was about whether automation comes first necessarily, and then you move on to an enhanced employee experience through digitalization. In our case, it did, yes. I had moved to JSW from an organization which had an LMS in place always. So when I joined here and there was no LMS in place, it was kind of, I'm like, okay, so how is learning even done then, right? And then it was a journey that we were adopting success factors close to 4-5 years back. And that in itself was a beautiful journey. Time and attendance for a big group like JSW has always been on SAP success factors eventually also, right? So I would say that is an important, you can say, milestone in the journey. What my personal experience has been in the last few months is bite-sized pieces, piloting either on smaller organizations within the group or on smaller HR processes is a much viable approach, not only for a larger organization, but necessarily for smaller organizations, especially if you're starting from ground zero. So I'd highly recommend anybody doing that to start from, in bits and pieces, nugget based, as we say in learning also. So moving on to the next point, which is my experience with regards to how it's been for the whole group versus smaller organizations. So I've had experience with, an organization within the group, which is essentially 10% of a mammoth group. Our priorities were different. We were much faster in growth, but that also meant we were much more agile than a bigger manufacturing conglomerate, right? Which we had a much younger workforce. Our priorities were different. However, at the same time, it was much easier for us to be prepared for a change. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is for any technology adoption, as Adil mentioned, data becomes a challenge. Your data is not in one place. Even to reach a point that you have single source of data available in the organization, which is coming from only one platform, your base data, howsoever you are maintaining it, needs to be properly maintained.
And integrity. Data integrity.
Data integrity, data sanctity, data standardization, and consistency. Okay. So in my experience, we were much better off as a smaller organization versus the rest of the group, because it's much easier to control the various variables when you're part of a smaller group. So I can equate that with the experience of smaller organizations, that could be a nice base to start with. The challenge may not be as much compared to bigger organizations, or the challenges are of different nature, but there are definitely some plus points given small size, and hence the business's agility and nimbleness to navigate digitalization.
Right. Tell me a bit about the Excel sheet transition. Normally what happens is that you're maintaining all the data on Excel sheets, and more often than not, especially in smaller setups. Even I know even in a conglomerate, the smaller setup has to take on proportionate cost of the of the solution. So they're easily in the conversations. There are as you're making this decision, there are obviously submissions around the fact that the Excel's working perfectly well. Why are we honestly taking on this additional cost? So tell us a bit about this Excel sheet to transition to an integrated platform, because more often than not, that will be something that you have to be able to sort of manage or navigate, which is why do we need an integrated platform in between perfectly well with Excel sheets?
Precisely for the reason you mentioned, Excel sheets, who wants to deal with them anymore? They are saying email is going to be redundant in a few years, right? Because everything will be on channels like Slack or Teams in a new mode. Similarly, Excel sheets are just who takes care of versioning. We can have one sheet or we can have multiple sheets. There's so much problems that the leadership faces in terms of what's the data veracity, what's the truth of in the data, what's its sanctity, whether it's being tweaked or not. As Adil mentioned again, three different data sources, they will come differently. The data is being read in different manners. It's being described in different manners. There's no data template. I mean, I'm talking about real ground issues, but actually this is the foundation of where you start with building an experience, or rather preparing for the technological change. So in my opinion, definitely Excel sheets are, it's where the world is moving. You would want to move beyond that, not only because of they are cumbersome, but because what is the value in the next solution? So what is the next solution? You have a system which becomes your single source of truth. You can have role-based personas. So my CEO wants a specific kind of information. My function head wants a specific kind of information. My plant head wants a specific kind of information related to their people and needs, people and departments. My HR heads wants a different kind of information. My safety head wants a different kind of information. How about having and providing them that information, not via their HR business partner, but directly in the system, in the technology? What are you doing by that? You're freeing up extremely important time that HR tends to spend in administrative and transactional work, or rather work that is not required. If you have it arranged in one place, this is where moving on from Excel sheets can actually cut down a lot of fluff from the system and truly, help in HR becoming a more strategic partner.
Well said. I'm going to, with that, move over to Jayashree. And Jayashree, I know you've had, very extensive experience in doing it. You've also had the advantage of being part of an international setup where perhaps some of these decisions were already made or perhaps came in as directives, so it became easier to be able to execute them. Finally, nothing's easy. So I want you to be able to tell us about your experience, Jayashree. And, I have to say before you respond that it's really, we're very privileged, very excited that you kind of made your debut on the LNOD Roundtable after so long. So really excited
to have you. Be doing it on this kind of a platform. Thank you for this opportunity. And yes, it's my first time, and I hope the first of many now that to come. My journey with data, okay, because that's the new industry revolution that we have, and we can't take that away because that's where we are all moving to, has been very progressive. But also we've slipped in the sense I moved data in a large corporate group like the UB group, which had so many verticals and profit centers and company, and getting data together, like Dr. Malia said, it was a challenge. Okay, especially when we all the time talk about let's keep parity in the whole organization. And getting that kind of data across the whole organization is an issue. I had one division fighting against another division. I had branches fighting against the other. And you would know that employee data is the most well-known secret amongst all information. Your compensation, everything is known. So that was very important for us. And Excel sheets, I don't think even now we can get away with Excel sheets. We will need it because and it has developed so much. It gives you all that analysis on your fingertips. But yes, from the time we started using the biometric system to capture attendance was the time that we all moved towards technology. It was no longer the card swapping on the biometric because people knew how to manage that, and we can do that in India. So it moved to your fingerprint. Today, that technology, because of COVID, no touch, has moved to your irises. But that is what technology is bringing in. Yeah. So I'm capturing attendance. I'm capturing a lot of things as to what people are moving in and out of the office. We are, in the sense, just give me a moment. So we are not only capturing attendance, and even capturing attendance today has become, okay, you are not being able to come into office, but let us know where you are. So your GPS on your phone is capturing your attendance. That if I'm on a client meeting, prove it. It's like that. Even if it's a small organization of 10 to 15 people or say 100 people, it's important for us because more and more payroll is becoming that it's just not a flat salary you're getting at the end of the month. It is also dependent on what your attendance is, where you are, what are you doing, what is your timesheet showing us, your leads. Everything is now getting automated, and it is important. It's no longer pen and paper. It's very difficult. Like Vasu sir said, that even if you are a smaller organization, if just being in different locations is so difficult to, capture information, capture data.
Yes.
For that, more and more, we needed to move into automation. We needed to get our approval systems all automated. Today, even an appraisal sheet that we are filling up, it's not about how well you have done the job, but how much have you done of that job, and how well have you done in that every activity. Everything is now coded. Every activity you're doing is project coded, right? My timesheet today, if I'm a PR agency, we work with clients.
Yeah.
We are billing to our sending invoices to our clients. The client needs to know what is the kind of work that has been delivered to them based on the contract that has been signed. How do I show that? I need to show that with my timesheets. Yeah. Or even tomorrow, if I'm trying to prove the productivity of an employee, I have to show it through timesheets.
Yeah.
So every activity of mine has got a project code with it. Yeah. So there are analyses that are coming up.
Yeah.
Now, as we moved on to becoming a more global company, and today, like I mentioned, Ketchum Sampark is part of the large Omnicom group. For us, it was being in India, away from the US and European markets, we needed to be integrated with their processes, right? Whether it was in your own performance or utilization, as they call it, or your learning and development. So there are learning platforms where, because they can't cover everybody in the same time zone on a training program, we developed learning platforms where you can, it's a library, you can go and access your the kind of learning you want to undertake. So it's all about self-learning, sitting at home and learning for myself, and certifications on that. And so all this did become important. And for a small company,
so I'm just going to interrupt that, Jayashree, to ask what were the considerations or challenges around that? And I'll request you to keep your response brief so that we can bring in more people. Keen to know what challenges as you were adopting it. So what kind we've understood, but did you have challenges of Excel before you transitioned? What were the considerations in terms of cost? Some of these insights, which would really be very helpful for those who are still waiting to embark on these journeys.
So everything comes with a cost, right? Today, a simple HRMS system comes with a cost. And for a small agency, like we were a small agency of just 100 people, do I want to incur that cost? And after I have implemented the system, how is it going to be adopted by the employees? Because there has to be an acceptance of change, an acceptance of moving from the paper to doing it online or doing it from their phone. So these are the challenges you need to face. There have been times where getting the timesheet completed or being even accepted is more like, are you policing me? So that mind shift has to happen. And therefore, to bring in new systems has involved a lot of investment in training, counseling, spending time with people, convincing them that this is important, because this is what we are moving into.
So, Sujaya, it's very simple. When you and I were growing up, and you were growing before I was born, but when you and I were growing, we were brought up under the belief that English is the language of business. But now the changing world is saying that coding is the language of business. And given this situation, the quintessential question is going to be, are we investing in challenges of today, or are we investing in the purpose of tomorrow? And once we can crack this, you have got a solution.
Well said.
I think
I'm going to try and bring in one or two comments which are on the chat box, and we have Promila Cecil, and she's saying that I strongly agree with Risha. However, it becomes very difficult for organizations to transition, for transitioning them to teams. I face challenges to bring in that change. The older boys and girls still use Excel. So, I think she's talking about the adoption, and that, you still have people with the legacy system as you're making these transitions. And I think Jayashree so well recapped the counseling and training and retraining, and sometimes some of the other sticks rather than carrots that you need to use to be able to make sure that you don't run parallel systems and you get everyone to be able to transition online. And some of those are really real challenges. And I'm sure Adil recalls some of them, in terms of being able to get everyone to be able to have the discipline to work on the new system. I'm just mindful.
And some of them still want to do it on paper and pen.
That's right.
Don't forget that.
That too. So, I think having said that, we just have such rich, sort of experiences on this panel, and I am interested in using our time to move on to the live survey that I'm going to ask, particularly the small organizations to participate in, and I'm going to request everyone to stay and fishbowl that, so that we can then work together on what responses we're actually getting from the organizations that are participating here today. So we're interested to be able to add that to, to our learning process today, so that we can get some live action going in terms of bringing in live data, which we can try and debrief and understand, so that people who are participating can take away real ideas for execution. So I want to be able to kind of close this conversation out. It's been fantastic to be able to get each of your perspectives. But I'm not done with this, because, don't want to let go of so much of rich experience here. So round robins, and I'm going to start with Vasu. Vasu, give the group that has not yet embarked meaningfully on this journey, share with them, 2 or 3 hacks on what you believe they should do if they've not yet started, or they're not yet on an advanced integrated HR platform. I know that these times have been significant accelerators for organizations to understand that you need technology for survival. So it's not just a good to have, but it's something that you absolutely require. I don't think there are very many organizations that have not gone up a steep learning curve in the last 18 months. But we're talking about boosting employee experience using integrated HR technology. So Vasu, I'm going to let you have the floor first here. 2 or 3 hacks for those in the audience who are from mid and small size organizations who are looking to be able to full-fledged embark on this journey. So over to you, Vas.
Okay. Thanks, Sujya. So one of the things that there was something I was reading from one Dr. George Westerburn from MIT, I think, if I'm right. He said, if you think of digital transformation as 2 words, we put too much emphasis on digital and not enough on the transformation piece. Right, and that's clearly the issue that Jayashree was articulating. That at the end of the day, all transformation is people transformation. It's about creating acceptance. It's about, even if you have a half-baked quality software, if the acceptance is 100%, you're still at success, right? So, so this is one challenge, and it's not a technology challenge. It actually is a leadership challenge, as you know from your own experience at SR. Technology is less at some point in time. One change that I think we kind of missed talking about, and I want to capture that for people to understand. The first step was digitization. What we did was we went from very isolated manual kind of work to process-led work. We wanted consistency. We wanted to get everything right. Today, the work is moved from being process-led to data-driven, right? Data-backed insight. So you're moving from data to information, information to insight, and insight to impact. That's the kind of scale that we are going in. So understand where you are on that journey as a company first, right? Are you at the data stage? Are you at the information stage? Do you want to move there? So have an idea of what your roadmap needs to be. Second, at the end of the day, any digital technology that you want to adopt presents you with an opportunity to rethink the way you want to work as a business. The whole business model itself up for grabs for conversation. So on one hand, you're going to build a digital platform. On the other hand, you're operating a new business model. Pretty complex stuff for most organizations to grapple with. That's a huge challenge. Now, from the kind of things that I want to say from a hack perspective is keep it completely simple. You see, first, you need to understand what your need is. You know your context best, you know your customers best, you know your people best, you know your structures best, your organization best. Understand what is your need. There is no need to overreach on this. This is not a 100-meter sprint. Just because COVID happened and you have to run fast doesn't mean you'll all be successful at the end of it. You have to be doing this on a regular basis. So culturally, the first thing is culturally, do you have people who are thinking about constant improvements? That's number one. Number two is, if you want specialist advice, get it before you start on the journey.
Good
That's
point.
number one. You know, it's too late if you're somewhere here and somewhere there, and then you get people in to solve it, doesn't work. And whatever advice that you get has to be context relevant, which means you have to share your context with the specialist or a team of specialists so they understand it and create solutions that are specific to your context, right? Every startup does this. They understand the world's context, they understand the problem they're trying to solve, they understand the people who are they solving for, and then they develop a technical solution for it, right? The key is you need to do the same as a small organization, as a medium organization, and as a large organization.
Well,
The second thing that I would do is to say that if you're looking at technology, don't go for what is cheap. You know, the first mistake we make is as entrepreneurs is that we want to go in there and get everything in one box, right? It needs to be able to sing, act, and dance for me. Right? Give me controllership, but give me the right to override it. So
Yeah.
that's pure indiscipline behavior issues that we are talking about at an entrepreneurial level. So the second thing is get a partner who can partner with you on the whole implementation journey and make you successful. That's very important. So 2 hacks for you. One, know what you want, go out and get it. Because if you don't just go out and see what is there in the market, you will be the most confused person on earth. Just type in application tracking software or recruitment software. Your whole page looks like an infographic of companies that can sell you stuff. How are you going to make that choice?
Yeah.
So know what you want, go and seek it. Second, get specialist help to understand what this is. Third hack, start hiring people who have the ability to break this down for you within the company. Build capability within the company for being able to not only get the right technology in, but absorb the technology and to be able to roll it out within the organization. I would say these are my hacks for you.
Super. I'm going to ask all the others to keep it brief, only in the interest of moving on to the survey. But 2 hacks each we must get from each one of you. So Adil, next, can we get you in on what are your 2 hacks for the audience?
Over and above what Vasu has said, number one, this is a transformational exercise. This is not about technology in isolation. Therefore, please ensure that in your organization, your OD person is put in charge of this journey and not your IT guy. Step number one. First mistake, put your IT guy and you're in trouble. All right. Number 2, your business model and your technological model that you're getting from your HRIMS should be singing the same tune. You can't have your business model playing at the Albert Hall, a Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and your system is driving a Gemini circus to be able to try and match it. The two have to be absolutely seamlessly aligned. Very, very critical. And the third and the most important thing is analytics will change your narrative. Today, when you do not have a very systematic program which ties in with all the systems, you are making assumptions on what the narratives of the people and your system's needs are. But once you get a right system in, the total narrative that you will pick up will change. You will be doing totally different things on the agenda than what you've been doing.
Right, well said. I'm going to turn this over to Vignesh. Vignesh, 2 hacks for anyone who's starting off today.
Sure, especially for small and medium enterprises, I think, like the panelist said, focus is on cost. And I'm going to look for the cheapest solution. But I've seen, the platforms change very quickly. The focuses change very quickly. It's a very fast changing domain. Are we really future proofing, for the future needs of our own employees? That's a consideration that not a lot of companies think about. Especially, how is your platform choice going to affect long-term trends? Some of the trends that we're seeing right now in the whole HR tech space is primarily e-learning. How is your choice today going to affect e-learning in the longer period? How is it going to affect performance management? How is it going to affect benefits, especially, stuff like a lot of fintech activity happening in the HR space right now. I know a lot of companies I speak to talk about providing them with daily salary advances, right? Things are changing very fast, and your choice that you make should not be around cost, but about future-proofing your whole HR as a practice. Second, I would say this I've seen with a lot of, especially medium-sized enterprises, where they would want the entire platforms and solutions to be customized. I would say always standardize, don't customize.
Right.
Standardize your own process. Don't look at customizing. It's a rabbit hole that you'll never come.
Right.
Those will be my two inputs.
Vignesh, do you also confront situation that we are uniquely different? We are not like others.
That's absolutely. Everybody is unique, including individuals, right? No. I mean, I can give you this, right? I mean, this customization business is one of the biggest pain. We've been doing it this way forever. We want it to be doing this way forever, right?
And you can't follow
when
the
you
same.
do that, I mean, you do it in one module, and you have the capability of leverage elsewhere. That's the other challenge. And it cost what organization $2 million just to take the new version of it and customize the damn thing. So it's ridiculous, that customization piece. And I think it's a great point.
We'll continue that conversation offline. I'm just going to move this over in the interest of time, and I absolutely want us all to get onto the survey quickly. So Jayashree, quick two hacks for the audience. Keep it really brief, and I'll let Richa go last.
One is, as a small agency that we are, of course, growing big, commercial plays a big role. I know it is something that we have to grapple with, but if I don't keep a budget in mind, then I can go for the best. But I have to keep that in mind. Commercial is very important, the commercial aspect. And then the next hat is of being a very smart, maybe software developer who will understand what the system that we are taking in and what are the dialogues we need to put into the platform. And then, of course, the thing of OD and training. These are the three hats I really, really would want to wear. And actually, I am wearing this now at this moment.
Lovely.
It's very, very important. Yeah.
Super. Risha, give me your two hacks and we'll conclude the session. I want the audience to know, I must say many of them are sorry to see you go. Yeah, we've got Venkat saying that just when the conversation was getting good. So they really want this to be able to continue. I want you to know that they're there even in the next part of what we're doing. All the absolutely wonderful panelists are still here, and when we make sense of what comes out of the survey, we will draw them in again. So my recommendation is do not leave, stay to fishbowl what's happening next. Okay. So Richa, we let you have the last word. Yeah, two hacks for the audience. You're just fresh out of an implementation. I'm sure you have lots of ideas in your head.
Correct. I believe there, and as Josh Person also says, there's no platform currently that probably meets all the needs unless you want to customize end to end, okay, which is a very, very expensive agenda. So be flexible, be cognizant of what is important to you. As Vasu said, know what you want. As Vignesh said, cost is not the only criteria, but understand how much you want to make this investment. So it has to be a balance between what are my priorities versus how much can I afford and what should I be spending that money on. Is it a specific process? For me this time, payroll is most important to be streamlined, has direct financial implications, or I'm just out of, I'm in a great space for skilling and reskilling and upskilling. How do I make that happen? So maybe investing in an LXP is the biggest need for me right now. So that kind of analysis of just looking at cost versus what I want, and that will be the one point. Second will be role of HR is changing absolutely. As Adil said, it doesn't have to be an IT person because this is not about technology. Technology at the end of the day is only facilitating. We in HR need to know what kind of an employee experience we want to provide. And to provide this experience, HR will continue to evolve and double, triple hatting or quadruple hatting, if that's a word. I need to be a change agent. I need to create further change champions. So that's where my knowledge of change management becomes very important. Somebody had asked a question about how do you manage different cohorts? You do change readiness assessments and you manage different cohorts, adopt the change, right? Second thing that the HR will have to do is be a good campaign manager. We need to learn something from the marketing function on how to sell our own programs to the organization. So these are the two hacks that I'd like to leave the conversation with.
Lovely. Well said. So I think with that, you've just all been so wonderful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your contribution. I'm going to ask you to stay because, again, for those joining us late, the next part of the session is to be able to have our participants of the small size organizations participate in a small survey so that we get your point of view and your voice in. And we'll then debrief what comes out of it so that then we can bring in the experts on the panel and the rest of the audience in again. And that's why we're in meeting mode, so that we can bring you again in case, you have some contributions to make, you have some more ideas that you can provide, the more support you can provide to real issues that small size organizations may be experiencing. So what I need you to do here is, first of all, thank this lovely panel, and do stay as we carry on with what we're doing. Everyone's going to fishbowl this, right? Which means we're going to watch what their responses are, and then we draw you in again. All right. So lovely. With that, thank you, panelists, and we will move into a Mentimeter survey. I'm going to invite our small size organization participants to be able to use the code and respond to these questions. For the rest of you, you're all doing a yeoman job by being able to stay and contribute with your ideas, your experiences, as we support the small size organizations who are going to state their real challenges, your real issues, real concerns. And we're going to try and come in to be able to figure with our own experiences what we'd like to say to them as we debrief what we find on the other side of the survey. So Suneet, get the survey up, please. And you're going to all have to. So one more time, the people who should participate should be from organizations that have less than 200 employees. The rest of us, you can switch off your videos. The panelists, you can feel free to switch off your videos. But do stay as we get responses to this important survey. One more time, this survey needs to be responded to by people who are belonging to organizations that have less than 200 employees. So go to menti.com and use the code 297-68247. Go to menti.com, www.menti.com on your phones, and go to 297-68247, or use the QR code that you're seeing on the screen right now, and you will land yourself in the survey right away. So on your phones, get onto the internet, www.menti.com, 297-68247. And I'm going to request those who are from organizations with less than 200 employees to be able to participate in this survey, and do use the QR code if you want to be able to get there faster. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to be able to get in. And even as you're joining in, I want to be able to announce that we have the privilege of being able to invite two of our colleagues from the Quess Corp organization that has brought you this session in association with the Learning NOD Roundtable. We've got Meeta Karanth, Vice President, Quess Corp Limited, and Tejasvi Udupa, Head of Product and Quess Corp, also of Quess Corp Limited, joining us, as we debrief the survey questions. So I'm going to invite both of them, and Suneet, maybe you can try and move them in later when we are actually debriefing things, so that we can one more time invite Meeta and Tejasvi to be able to join me as we debrief the responses that we get to the survey. So how many do we have on board already? Okay, we want people who are from organizations with less than 200 employees to be able to join us in this survey. And I think you've got a good number on board already. Keep coming, please keep joining. And if you need help, please ping us on the chat box so that the team's able to help you. It's www.menti.com. Use the code 29768247. One more time, the QR code in case you'd like to use the QR code to be able to join this survey. Okay, and you're right. Move forward, we'll get started. We already have 31 Yes, it's showing a static orange page, Vikram, because we're about to start. Yeah. Now, here are the instructions for you. Respond in the context of your own experiences. Do respond in the context of what you've, what is your reality. So basically what we mean is that it'd be a useful survey if you're responding in your own context and your own organization's context. There's nothing difficult that we're asking here today. It's got to do with your technology considerations, what you're looking for in the context of technology. We have lots of technology stalwarts who are on the call today, and this would be incredible information for them to be able to actually generate solutions for small size organizations. So I think with that, we'll get started with we have 31. Can more people come in on board, please? Okay. Suneet, not all are showing up here. Keep going. Okay, let's start with the first question. All right, so we're just going to ask you to be able to put down, choose what your role would be. If it's other, then you can type the responses. Are you an HR executive? Are you an HR manager? Are you the founder of your organization? Just so that we know what you're actually doing for your organization at this time. Yeah, what's your role within the organization? Okay, so we do have some founders. We have, we've got some HR executives, some HR managers who are on board here today. And we just wait for some more responses to what is your role within the organization. Okay, let's move forward. All right, what is the size of your organization? Are you less than 50? You're 50 to 200, you're greater than 200. Okay. All right, so we have a significant number from 50 to 200 employees. We're going to wait as we keep going so that I think there were 31 who registered and not all have been coming into the responses. So I'm going to wait for more of you to be able to join in. And okay. All right. We seem to have dropped off a few, or maybe we just wait for them for their responses to register. Yeah, you had 31 who would actually come in on board. And okay, let's keep waiting till they respond. They're not difficult questions at this time. So we'd want to know how many of you are from organizations which are less than 50, 50 to 200, greater than 200. Fantastic. You move forward to number 3. And in number 3, we're asking you what business is your company in? Do you want to be able to identify that? And maybe you just want to respond by saying which kind of industry, which business. Okay, we've got some options here. Okay, I think Vikram's asking, can we enable people to respond? Yeah, so we are enabling people to respond. Vikram, maybe you can explain what exactly is the help you require so we can help you. I can ask okay, Vikram saying that the mentee is not working for him. Okay, maybe you want to log out and log in again, Vikram, right? So you want to choose from here which one is the kind of business your company is in at this point in time, so that we're able to make sense of who the audience is with us here today. So we've got only 19 responses. Please, please keep responding. And if you have a challenge, maybe you want to log in again. But most of you seem to be responding and it seems to be working for you. We have 22 responses here. Keep going. We want to be able to get all 28, 29 of you in. So keep coming. Okay. All right. Sarthi is responding offline saying he's from technology. Okay. All right. Super stuff. So keep going. Let's move forward. All right. What are the most critical issues on top of your mind when it comes to people management at this time? Do you want to select top 3 options? So is it performance management? We're going to start with, is hiring your challenge? Is retention, managing day-to-day processes the challenge? Is it, so you've got to choose about your top 3 because many of these could be commonly your problems. We'll try and see what percentages are coming up as top 3 overall. So keep going. We have only 8 responses so far. So keep going on this. Okay. Pushpa Rao, do you want to just log in again and then maybe you'll be able to manage? Okay. Or you can put your responses offline. It's okay. Somebody will help you with that. Okay. All right. So it appears it's It's basically hiring the right talent, and it's performance management, and it's training and development, which seem to be emerging as perhaps the biggest challenges we have at this time. Do more of you want to keep going? Because we're down to 26. I think we had about 28. Keep going. I'll be waiting for you to be able to respond. So keep going. Okay. Okay. All right. Move forward. And we go to number 5. And here we're asking, do you believe that HR processes are a distraction to your company, taking time and focus away from the core business? So what's your sense? Is HR processes are a distraction? How are you saying it? You want to admit, Sanjay, and meanwhile, do you believe HR processes are a distraction? And we're getting a very stellar no. I'm going to wait for more responses. Okay, keep going. We want to see some more responses coming in. Okay, the yes seems to be increasing. Okay. Okay, all right. So it's settled to a happy 77% saying no, and a very significant 22 now saying yes. Okay, super. Move forward. Number 6. What do you think is the ideal size of an HR team for a company with a headcount of 100? How many people do you think how many people in HR for a headcount of 100? Do you think it should be 1, 2, more than 2? Okay. All right. Many of you wanting more people in the human resources function, I can see. Keep going. Keep going. I think we're missing 1 response. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Lovely. Okay. Let's move forward to number 7. Do you believe the HR functions such as payroll, performance management are best handled by outsourcing it to service providers? Would you rather outsource payroll, performance management, and the rest to somebody else? Okay, what's your view? Does it work better when it's outsourced to somebody else? Okay.
You might want to split that question. I think that question is giving them a bit of a
payroll and performance management.
Payroll, they would want to outsource,
because you may want to, but let's debrief that first. Yeah, we'll debrief that. Don't worry. Okay, all right, lovely. Okay, keep going. We need 1 more, 27. Okay, lovely, super. Okay, let's move forward to 8 because we are revisiting some of these questions. We're coming back to them. 28 responses. Okay, 29 responses. It looks like more people have been able to log in, which is fantastic. Okay, move forward to 8, please. How is your payroll managed today? Is it in-house via paper, in-house via software tool, outsourced to a payroll service provider, or any other?
Jesus.
Okay, what are you doing with your payroll today? Okay, looks like in-house via software tool seems to be, okay, in-house via software. Okay, keep going. We're looking for 2 or 3 more responses. Keep going. Keep going on that. It's 26, and I think there were 28 of you who finally logged in. So please try again, respond to make sure that your responses are registered. Okay, super stuff. Keep going. I think there's 1 more missing. Okay, lovely. Number 9. How convenient is your payroll leave and attendance process? Is it very good that you don't spend more than a few hours on it? It's good, but it could easily be better. It's not good with lots of issues, and it's extremely time consuming. Okay, it's good. Okay, but Partha says it's very good. Okay. All right. So most of you are in the very good and the good domain on how it is that you're actually managing this. Keep going. We have only 26 responses, so 2 are missing. So please going. Please keep going. Looking for 1 more response. Yeah, we'll try and bring in 28. Keep going. 1 response missing. Okay. All right. Move forward to 10. When you're hiring, where do you source your candidates primarily from? When you're hiring, where do you source your candidates primarily from? Is it from portals like Naukri or Monster? Is it from LinkedIn and other places? Is it from gray collar sourcing portals like QJobs, or is it from recruitment consultants? When you are hiring, where do you source your candidates from? Okay. It looks like Naukri and Monster and LinkedIn and other social media seems to be dominating your responses, and some of it is from the recruitment consultants as well. Okay, all right, lovely. Let's go to 11. How good is your current hiring process? You think it's very good, and it's do you think it's very good, but could easily improve? How are you seeing your current hiring process? It's very good. The hiring platforms, the agency we use are easy, cost effective, and seamless. They're very good, but too expensive. Not good, don't get candidates. Not good, very cumbersome, and other. So it appears that it's largely very good. It appears it's largely not good. So you get not good and don't get good candidates. That seems to be the topmost answer. And some of you seem to say it's very good. It's easy, cost effective, and seamless. It's very good, but it's expensive. So 15% of you saying it's good, but it's expensive. And a very significant numbers saying it's not good and it's not giving you the right kind of candidates. Okay, lovely. Let's move forward. We go to 12, number 12. How big a problem is retention of employees at this time? Is it a very big problem? People leave within a year? Is it people, it's big problem, but people leave within 2 years, or it's not really a problem that you're experiencing at this time? Okay. All right. So I think that's all right. Okay. Keep going. We have only 22 responses. Keep going. Okay. All right. Okay. Keep going. I think we're missing one or two. And Sanjay Naik saying that it's people leave and the big people leave as well is what he's pointing out. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Okay. All right. So 27 of you responded. Move forward to number 13. Do you believe that a digital solution that manages attendance, leave, etc., is something too complex for your workforce to adopt? Okay. Okay. Don't think so. That's what we're getting largely. Okay. Keep going. We're missing some responses. 4 more to come. Okay, and Parthasarthi is saying it also depends on the quality of software, whether it's too complex to adopt. Okay, all right, fantastic. Move forward to 14. Where would you place your organization in terms of maturity in HR tech adoption? Very mature, have automated all HR processes, mature, which you use technology platforms for HR, but they're not integrated, slightly mature, which is you use HR tech for basic functions, low maturity, which means you actually use Excel sheets and paper and email and so on, or is there any other? Okay, so slightly mature is what seems to be coming up. And we've got about 20, okay, all right. All right, that number just went up. So almost 30% saying that you're very mature. And there's another group which is saying that we still have. So your majority is saying that we still have to be able to go up the maturity curve on HR tech adoption. Okay, lovely. Let's move forward. And 15, what has been in your consideration set while exploring HR technology? You can choose any 3. And you're on 15, we're asking, what is in your consideration set? Is it improved efficiency and productivity that you're looking for, improved employee experience that you're looking for? Is it reducing costs that you're looking for, providing workforce integration? Is it retention? What are you actually looking for? All right, keep going. Okay, keep going. Okay, we're looking for some more responses. Okay, largely seems to fall into the improved efficiency, productivity, improved employee experience, and providing for workforce integration. Okay, all right. Some more, I think we're missing some responses. Okay, all right. Okay, lovely. Let's move forward. 16. Have you explored different HR technology platform solutions for your organization? Yes, no, yes, but didn't find the right solution. Yes, but it was too expensive. Yes, but integration was cumbersome and it took too long. Okay. Okay. Yeah, many of you saying you haven't yet explored any form of HR technology, and many of you say you explored something, but it's not yet worked out for you. Okay, keep going. It's just 21 responses. We're looking for some more. There are 28 of you on this survey. So keep going. It's about 24 right now. Keep going. 26, 27. Okay, I'm going to wait for the others to come in. About 2, 3 of you who need to come back. Okay, all right, lovely. We move to 17. One of the reasons we have not gone for any HR tech solution is cost, flexibility, customization needs for our specific organization. Our employees are not comfortable using technology. There's no need because we're happy with the current process. Not aware, didn't explore the benefits or anything else. So there seems to be cost is the very defining part, and also flexibility, customization needs for our specific organization, which is emerging. And there's some more which we'll try and explore when we have a conversation. Down to the last 2 questions, number 18. Wait a bit. We need to be able to have more people respond to this. There's just 20 here, so we're waiting for some more responses. Keep going. Okay, we're waiting for more to come in. This is only 20. Right, keep going. Okay. You're right, missing a couple of you, so please come in, respond. Okay, let's move forward to number 18. The following functionalities in the HR value chain are a must-have to facilitate agility, productivity, and employee experience. Choose your 3. You've got talent acquisition, attendance and payroll, performance management, learning, career development and planning, succession planning and development, workforce planning, workforce analytics, engagement, and retention. So you can choose up to 3 here. Yeah, which 3 do you value the most? Okay, keep going. Keep going. Keep going, everyone. This is only 22. Keep going. Okay, what seems to be emerging is talent acquisition being number 1. You've got performance management, which is integral, and you also picked career development and planning is important. Okay, fabulous. Keep going, 19. And we make this quick now. How important are accurate reports and analytics to help make people decision? How important are these analytics or reports to you in terms of being able to make people-related decisions? Let's respond. Okay, let's have some more. Okay, this seems to be very important, and just practically everyone saying it very important, but keep going. You want to see more responses here? Okay, all right. Some of us saying it's good, but we can manage without it. Keep going. We got only 21. We need some more responses to be able to come in. So please come in, respond to this question. Okay, can we get some more responses, please? Okay, we seem to have lost some of you, yeah? There's only 22 responding to this. So some more to be able to come in. I think sometimes the connections fluctuate, and so they register and may not sometimes register. Okay, all right, cool stuff. Let's move to the next one. How important, move forward. How important is it to have an HR tech platform that can be used by all types of employees, whether contractors, consultants, blue, white collar, sales staff? To what extent do you want a flexibility of being able to have a platform that can be used by the off-roles who are not your full-time employees? Okay, keep going. we need some more responses. Okay, Pushpa Rao says it's a must-have for his organization. Okay, keep going. We got just 19 responses. Keep going. Okay, keep going. All right, fabulous. So we're going to go to the next one. I believe investing in robust HR technology is a priority for my organization. Nice to have, but not critical right now. Not a priority at all. Okay, keep going. All right, keep going. We're looking for more responses. Okay. All right. So about 67% who say it's nice to have, but it's not a priority. And we take the last one. My key considerations in bringing an integrated HR platform at this time would be cost. You can choose 3 out of these: cost, ease of configuration and implementation, training for adoption of the platform, ease of use and user-generated feedback, providing enhanced data analytics and reports. What would be your top 3 considerations for bringing an integrated HR platform at this time? And clearly, we're looking at cost as our key consideration. We're looking at ease of configuration as our key consideration, and it appears ease of use of the data, that is user use and user generated feedback. Okay, and on close heels of that, providing enhanced data analytics and reports. Okay, Pushpa Rao says 1, 2, and 4 are key for him as well, which kind of adds up to this. Keep responding. We're still looking for a few more responses. So not everyone has come in yet. So keep this going. Keep it going. Okay. I think we're missing 1 response. So do you want to keep going? I don't know. Somebody's response is not registered. So you may want to all try again. Okay. All right. Lovely stuff. So thank you for responding to this. This has been very useful, and we'll try and debrief some of these as we talk. Sunit's going to try and Sunit's going to try and publish this for us so that we can revisit some of these analytics. Very quickly, take to the chat and tell me what it is that your experience has been while you participated in this. So I don't know, I'll try and take some of the responses that we did get during today. We've got Niharika saying, if it's a team of less than 10 employees, does it make sense to invest in an HR technology platform? So I'm going to let Vasu answer that question for her. Yeah, less than 10 employees, does this make sense at all?
He's not there, Sujaya.
He's not there. Okay. Should I bring in Adil? Adil, would you like to respond to this? Less than 10 employees. What do you think?
So my question again will be always this, that it is not your current position that you are determined. What is it that you want to do? What is your business model? Where do you want to go? So if your future is going to be more, are you going to be limiting yourself to 10? So if you're going to limit yourself to 10, then maybe you can still continue with Excel. But if your future is a growth-oriented purpose, then you need to invest, maybe earlier the better, right, as soon as you can afford.
Right. Vasu, would you want to have a go at this as well? There's somebody asking, if I have less than 10 employees, what's my advantage? Or is it useful for me to be able to want to invest in an HR integrated technology platform?
No, I think I'll just add to what Adil said. It depends upon where your employees are. If you have GDPR regulations to take care of, if you've got compliances in the US to take care of, if you're a fintech company, you might want to just outsource the whole thing to an organization that provides you that support on a SaaS basis, right? It's pretty cost efficient in one sense. You can go to a third-party provider who does all of this for you. You outsource everything to them and you let them help you with that. And if you know you're going to get to 40, 50, and 100 at some point of time, that's the best way to grow because you rely on somebody else.
Right.
Cost would be a consideration, but it's a criticality issue.
Right. So, we can have the survey results up now. So you did see the analytics come up, but let's try and bring these up. And maybe, we don't have time to be able to debrief all, but we'll try and start with Sunit, if we can go to question 4. Yeah, which is where we asked, we asked the question on what are the most critical issues on top of your mind when it comes to people management, and we asked the respondents to select any three. So before we start debriefing, I want to thank everyone who participated in the survey and thank you for your candid responses. For those who couldn't connect, I think it's very commendable. You took to the chat and you still responded to all the questions. So we will garner and glean that data also as we put it into this report. But I'm going to ask some of the panelists to respond to what you're seeing here on the screen. Any surprises for you? How do you want to respond to this? These appear to be so it's clearly hiring, the right talent, performance management and training that seem to be emerging as the most critical issue on top of our minds when we want to be able to look at technology. So
what is surprising is the employee engagement.
Okay.
Because, it's exactly the same thing. You don't engage your employees, that leads to attrition. Attrition leads to recruitment. So the vicious cycle operates from there. So I'm saying is that the fact that the system believes that engagement is not critical is the source point of the starting to the vicious cycle.
Well said. Vasu, Risha, do you want to come in? Anything?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about it. A year ago to that time, you'd have seen number 3, the top priority, right? Because you just wanted to get people back to work. You wanted to try and see where they are, what's happening. How can I get people in? Do I know if all my people are working? What are they doing? Are they logging in? And there were some companies which were looking at keystrokes and stuff like that. That was really, completely off the chart.
Right.
But these are traditional problems of any organization. These are the things that you want to fix to on a traditional basis. So in a more relaxed and a less tenuous environment, this seems to be the thing. But I'd agree with Anil that it's really putting the cart before the horse. You've got talent acquisition and lack of engagement. You'll continue to do the same thing. You'll get caught in a loop out there.
Right. I'm going to move to 5. Sunit, take us to 5, please. Do you believe that HR processes are a distraction for your company, taking time and focus away from core business? We did get 76% of you saying that you don't see that as a distraction, but we do have some of you who've responded here, almost 25% of you, 1/4 of you saying that the HR processes are a distraction for the organization. Does anyone want to unmute and respond to this so that we can understand? We're trying to understand the 24% who said yes.
So this 24% clearly needs coaching, of course.
No, we don't want to judge, we want to understand. So I'm going to ask anyone who came in.
Sujaya, this is Tejasvi here.
Yes.
A slight nuance to your question that I would like to know about is I think that the 24% are primarily the founders and CEOs that we have here. So if any of the founders on the group can step in and say, if that's true that you're saying that these HR processes are a distraction for your company, that would be interesting to hear.
Yeah. So would love to know more. Anybody who wants to try and get us to understand a bit of this. This is 1/4 of you who said this. So interested to understand your perspective. Anyone? Do you want to take to the chat? Anybody wants to go take to the chat? Please continue. Everyone who responded to the survey, help us understand this. So, help us because we don't quite know what the 24% are experiencing. So let us understand this. I know this is primarily an HR focused panel. We're not going to come after you. We just want to understand what you mean by this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So interestingly enough, given I'm part of a big organization, for me to understand the perspective of small, and medium-sized organizations, I attended a webinar or a chat per se being organized by CNBC, had multiple people, and the agenda was digitalization. Is it important for SMEs? It was not specifically HR digitalization, it is digitalization of all sorts. It was actually interesting to see that in all the discussion, there was probably the least focus on HR digitalization. Okay, in that conversation, it was mostly a very CRM, talking to the market, supply chain, finance kind of a conversation, which kind of made me think that is it that still business leaders think, specifically, in a traditional manner for small and medium organizations, that, okay, such advanced or mature HR processes belong to larger organizations. So I think that's maybe a disconnect. That's where HR leaders within SMBs could play a bigger role, or it's a journey that will take some time of its own. So maybe this could be related to that.
In fact, I was talking to a founder a couple of days ago, and I was checking with him on what are the platforms that he has validated. He told me that he is struggling with adopting HR technology for the last 2 years. Then they finally decided to go, stop doing any processes. Now they don't have any policy, no time policy, no leave policy, nothing. Probably like the Netflix model they've adopted, which is, he's saying, just from a founder's perspective, has actually helped him get a lot of mind space back.
Right. Okay. So interesting. I mean, we're bringing in some of the perspectives, and it'd be lovely if somebody from the audience.
If I can add something, this is Mayur Patel.
Yes, please.
For founders, what I have seen over the years, that it is business first, not people. And it takes a little time for them to realize and understand that there is so much of value people can create. Yeah. So I think it is the mindset, which is the problem with SMEs, because we work with SMEs a lot in Gujarat CII.
Yeah.
And that's one thing which we are trying every time. It is the mindset issue. Once they understand and realize what is in it for me, they are ready to invest.
So Sujya, it is like the definition of the word anarchy. When you say anarchy, you start believing it is a state of lawlessness, right? Versus actually the meaning of anarchy is that there is so much of a discipline prevailing in the system that you do not require policing. So in both ways, you don't require policing. One is because, one is lawless state versus the state of acute discipline.
Yeah.
So when you compare a Netflix kind of situation with a small company and you say, okay, they don't have policies, so I will not have policies, like mixing up the concept of anarchy.
Yeah, well said.
And I think one thing you got to grant to entrepreneurs is they have a very, very unique nose for business, right?
Yeah.
And when they realize that they do need the people side to be kind of set right, they move with speed on that. Okay, so I would not underestimate it. Most of the small entrepreneurs that I've met, and I'm talking about companies that are between 200 crores to 1,200 crores or more, they're all people who are very, very adaptable. What they do is they are saying, look, in the initial stages, I need to be focused on this, my business, growing my business.
Right.
And they understand that to get the right people for it. They understand. It's like how a small entrepreneur put to me. If I hire somebody to do a job, I don't want to be doing his job. He needs to be he's paid for doing his job, right? So they're very smart people. It's a time and a life stage decision in the organization. So if you ask a founder at the start of his career, is this the most important thing? The answer is no. But give them a couple of years, when they start tracking numbers, start hiring more people, they cross the 100, 200 dimension of headcount, then they want systems. Because you lose control. You don't know how many people are in the organization. You don't know what people are doing. You want to have a picture of it. You want last mile line of accountability and visibility. That's when you start needing systems and processes.
Right. So that's when you start identifying the leaking boat where it is.
Exactly, and that's the point. So it's not about whether it's priority for me today. It will become a priority, and when it is going to become a priority, he will sense it far faster than most people at that time and take action. So this is a more nuanced response to it, but I hope that helps clear it,
Right. I'm going to take some comments from the chat because, we have an audience of people who responded and they are from small size organizations. And Pushpa Rao is saying in small enterprises, I think it's also cost because it's sort of a luxury to have systems. And he says that I agree with Mr. Vasu here. And Bikram Kalyanpur is saying entrepreneurs need to learn how to kind of respect the small, medium scale SMEs, basically the subject matter experts, and rather than settling or trying to manage with budget-based anyone who can follow orders. So I think that he's also talking about the quality of talent that is managing HR within these organizations as part of the consideration. And I think all well said. I'm just keen to be able to bring in, Tejasvi from Quess Corp, who's also on this call. And Tejasvi, do come in, to be able to share your perspectives or to be able to probe more. Do join me in this. Like I said before, this session's been brought to you by Quess Corp, and they're interested in being able to generate solutions around this. And I'd be very excited to have Tejasvi join me in this conversation wherever you feel free to be able to do that. So I'm just calling out to Tejasvi. He is on this call. Do feel free to come in wherever you believe you want to be able to probe a question with him.
Absolutely, Sujay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. So let's move forward. Number 9. And what do you think is how convenient is your payroll, leave and attendance process? And most of you said it's good, but could be better. And some of you said it was very good. And someone said, and a small number thankfully said not good. And there are lots of issues and time consuming. I'm interested to know about the group, the 64% of you, very significant number there, who said that it's good, but it could easily be better. Could be better how? Can we try and understand what is it that
Sujay, convenient or accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, there are different ways. One, you would even turn around and say if it is painful.
Yeah.
If you say painful, that will be the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
I know of companies that between payroll and reimbursements take 15 to 21 days for 2 people to run. Small company. I'm not even talking about big companies.
And yet end up paying the wrong amount.
And yet end up paying the wrong amount and, making changes every month and so on and so forth. So that just happens, right? So this question is really about, you have to get payroll right. It doesn't matter which organization it is. None of us would ever tolerate receiving the wrong payment. Absolutely. Even if it is by a few rupees, and say, this organization doesn't deserve me because it doesn't care to pay me the right amount.
No, because it destroys my trust. Please understand, correct. If you cannot get my payroll right, it destroys my trust in the system. So it's more a trust issue than the rupee issue.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's basically a simple thing. You can't get this right, you don't deserve me here. It's as simple. The other thing is that this has been something that was dinned into every HR person at least a few decades ago. We were doing payroll on pen and paper when we started Adil and I. Then came Lotus 1, 2, 3, where some cells would just not get calculated.
I never did that.
Okay, I'm saying all kinds of stuff. But I'm just saying, look at the age of that, right? And from there to here, if you still can't get it right in this day and age, you don't have the right to exist as an organization.
Yeah, but I mean, we're still trying to understand what the challenge is. So I'm really interested to ask some of the respondents to tell us, good, but could be better in what way? Anyone who wants to nuance this response?
That'd be great, yeah.
Now, if I could say something, Sujaya, Dr. Sujaya?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so today payroll is just not churning out that salary and paying it to the person. Today payroll is all about transferring it on the bank account. A payroll is getting a salary slip at the end of it, a pay slip, because that has become very important. Payroll is also about generating that Form 16. So it's very important to have that kind of a smart system. And especially for us, because our payroll is dependent on the attendance and leave. Okay. The complete salary is not paid. So ours is based on attendance and leave. So it has to be linked. It's become very important to ensure that your payroll is smart enough to capture all that, calculate it all by itself. Otherwise, and to pay it out. And also at the end of the month, give that salary slip, because you have people who are now taking loans. They need salary slips. They need all that kind of information. And instead of HR or payroll giving a printout every time, you should be able to generate it yourself.
And Jayashree, give me proposals on what are the tax saving alternatives under the last budget which I can do from my payroll.
Yes. Investments. Yes.
Investments.
All that comes now.
So I have a question. This is Meeta here from Quess. Maybe a bit of a clarification, or we can poke this point a little bit more, right? In all the questions we saw, which had choices on kind of picking what is more important across HR functions, payroll leave attendance has ranked the lowest in all the questions in today's survey, right? Yet we also see a lot of people saying it's good or very good, right? So is this a problem that's already solved? It's slightly different from what you're saying, Jayashree, because I think you're talking about the next phase of payroll, which is providing financial services and all of that stuff for employees, which is an employee benefit come engagement retention kind of a thing, right? I'm just wondering, is this a problem that's solved? Because while it's very important, we all say it's very important, it didn't rank highly on any of the survey questions today.
Yeah. So I think, I wanted the respondents to come in. I mean, can we have some of the respondents come in on what exactly did you mean when you responded? And I think to Meeta's question, is this something that we've already resolved? Because it appears like that from the responses we've got so far. And it wouldn't be surprising because this is one piece you need to get right, which is what Vasu was saying right now. It's a very foundational, very basic process you need to be able to fix. In fact, the reason why many organizations have HR is only to be able to basically fix this. So the ones, so can we get some responses from the respondents? We're really interested in understanding what you really meant by that. And also to Meeta's question, is this a problem that's resolved? Anybody from the audience, people who responded? You can unmute, by the way, or you can raise your hand. We can try and unmute you so you can come in. Niharika is saying we only pay per month based on number of clients or growth or delivery of tasks. Okay. Okay, we've still not got an answer to this question. So if you look at this really means it's almost 90% of you who are saying that it's either good or it's good that could easily be better, but it's largely good. So we're simply trying to understand, is it good and you don't really need this to improve, this part of it to improve. Any of the respondents want to respond? Are you still thinking about this? Okay, so, take to the chat if you want to be able to respond to this. I'm just going, in the interest of time, going to be able to move forward, but it's a question we still want to be able to get a response on. Vasu, what's your own experience? Would you go with what Meeta is saying? Is this a problem that's already been solved?
Largely. I mean, look, whether you throw men at it or you throw a system at it, the problem is not so acute. Okay, let me put it like this. You tend to get it right because you have compliances coming off it. You have a whole lot of things that are coming off it. But the point is this, right? I mean, where they struggled, especially during COVID, was dispersed manpower. That was one thing. The second struggle was that you couldn't get the people into the on-prem, in the situation, into the office, and you couldn't do it because everything was on-prem. That was a second challenge. So if you are on a cloud solution for payroll, then it's easy. You could still run it from anywhere in the world, right? So it's a tricky question in today's context because either it's not about accuracy. You will get it accurate in the next month, make adjustment and go on. That's not the issue. It's all of what Jayashree said about the other things that are dependent on it for an individual and the organization, right? The other key thing about payroll during this last 18 months is there is a huge shift between a traditional payroll happening on a certain day after the pay cycle ends versus being able to draw advance money and the flexibilities that are going with it. So if you look at the tech side, they've gone overboard. So you'll always have this spectrum, where people are operating at the high-end option-led, proposals versus somebody trying to just get the basics right? So the maturity cycle of your business, where you are, determines your pain levels accordingly. So for those people who don't know different, who've been doing payroll on Excel sheets forever, they continue to do that. And the guy doesn't want to change because he will lose his job if you change the technology. So there are many other, stuff that, Adil and I have also seen, you've seen in the past. Just getting people to change in an old organization is never easy. Small organizations that have been around for 20 years, same problems.
So I'm going to move forward. Take 15, Suneet. What has been the consideration set while exploring HR technology? We tried asking this in different ways. And you've largely got improved efficiency, productivity, improved employee experience, and providing workforce integration. Any surprises here? Anyone from the panel or even from the respondents?
I am shocked with this, Sujaya. Okay. The one in the red is usually the one that is the biggest problem.
Exactly.
That I
was about to say that.
I'm like, I think this is what probably a thing that caught me offline. I mean, Vignesh and I were having a chat before this whole thing started. One of the reasons why many tech companies are looking for customers outside of India is purely this.
Yes.
Because every person that you want to talk to first talks costs.
Yeah.
I want the best of everything, but you know what? I'm not willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's a huge challenge within India for everything. So this really has put the thing on the other side.
Yeah.
If it was a bunch of CFOs and CEOs, red would be right up there.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
Vasu, this is more about
Vasu, there is another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
The other way of looking at this data is that after the systems are brought in, experiences of business leaders have been that the loss of job becomes the basis on which systems have been made to collapse in its execution. So therefore, keep the people on till they retire, pay them out, consider that to be a hidden cost that you have to bear if you want the technology in the long run to sustain. Therefore, you're not going to end up saving cost in the immediate. When they retire and go away and get wasted away, thereafter the systems will take over.
Right.
So that's very much. I mean, some organizations.
I just want to pause this for a second to say, anybody from the audience wants to go on this? I mean, I think Adil's got a good perspective on what he's saying in terms of why cost didn't stack up here. But anyone from the audience who has their own theory on why did we not get cost as one of the considerations here? Anyone from the audience, please take to the chat or unmute. We are in meeting mode, so you can very much unmute if you want to speak up.
They had to pick up only one choice, or they could pick up multiple choices?
No, they had to pick up 3. But it's interesting that this didn't figure in the 3. And go, Sunit, to 17, because I think we have a bit of an interesting situation there. And here we're saying one of the reasons we have not gone for any HR tech solution, you've got a 29 there saying cost.
Yep. So it doesn't stack up, I mean, it doesn't stack
probably
up.
The last slide was about consideration stage.
Consideration stage, but when decision making, the next slide works.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of contradiction here on cost. Having said that, if you interpret that previous question differently, then like Adil was saying, what they've done is when they did finally end up executing it, they found other things to be more useful as compared to lingering on to the cost. 18, we've got, can you put 18 up? The following functionalities in the HR value chain, and we put all these down. Talent acquisition seems to be trumps here. So I want Vignesh to be able to respond to this.
The market has heated up. Any HR, any recruiter you talk across different job functions, they'll say the market has heated up. We see, people getting shopping around for offers across the board. 100% hike is a reality for majority of the roles. So I think that's a problem across industries, across blue, gray, white collar, especially during these times. And it reflects here. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. 20, do you want to go to 20? How important is it to have a HR tech platform that can be used by all kinds of employees? And I saw particularly the ones who were responding in the chat went on to say that this was a must-have, which is getting the off-rolls on board. I just want to know reactions. Want to see a more active audience, actually. Do you want to be able to come in, help us to be able to understand this? Also want to know, while you're trying to warm up and respond, Vasu, what is your sense? Are you surprised with this?
I mean, not really. If you ask me, am I surprised? The answer is no. See, it's a question of where you are on the evolution journey. And therefore, none of this should surprise us, actually. Right. It's just a point in time situation. For a large organization, they'll be looking at all kinds of software for managing contingent labor and so on and so forth, right? It's just a question of that. Today, people hand over a job to the contractor, and even employees within the organization think they've handed over accountability to the contractor.
Right.
Which was the biggest shock that I have seen with some Indian organizations. And when I sit with them and ask them, how have you given the accountability to them? You've given the job to them. The accountability is still you. No, he didn't deliver. I said that you didn't monitor it to ensure delivery. Get that right. So that's the first challenge, right? Now, would you be able to spend money on getting all this done in the first instance? The answer is no. As an entrepreneur, I would not do that. And if the entrepreneur asked me my advice as an advisory body, saying, should I go for that today? The answer, my question would be, why do you want to go for it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any context situation that you have where it's important?
Yeah.
Are all your employees only contractors, which means they're actually technically employees? Then you need to look at it differently. If they're consultants, how do you get your consultants to participate in organizational decision making? So there are very specialized organizations where they have scientists, professors, university college people, all of them working with them. And they want them to participate in certain things. So they're looking for a tech solution. How do I bring him to be a part of my interview panel?
Yeah.
So there are, I'm just talking about a 12, no, it's a 2,000 crore organization, right? So think about it like this. So the mind has to be very clear. Why do I want to do this? If I don't have clarity, I'll be running around like a headless chicken with all of this.
I would treat this as a takeaway for smaller organizations, really, rather than the 2,000 crore kinds.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who actually responded to this.
I mean, it's even more important than.
What I'm saying is my takeaway from this is that a very significant component of their employees are from the gig economy. And so obviously this is an important consideration in terms of, and many of them in the chat as well said must have, which is this is a must have.
Correct.
Risha, did you see this in your execution? Did you see in your own execution a very considerable sort of provision for being able to provide for people who were off roles?
Oh yeah, I mean we have an absolute different technology platform for off roles. Yeah. Because we're a large organization, large manufacturing organization with a big off-role population. But the considerations of the system for us was truly different. Yeah. To a great extent, blue-collared employees. That transformation journey or that automation journey, for that matter, had started way before we embarked on this transformation journey. Right. So that's been going on for some time. Having said that, the tech vendor itself was open to spending a lot of time and learning from a complex use case as our organization. And I think that's a win-win situation.
Yeah. Super. So I'm going to end with the last one, which is really good news in a way. So we take 21 for me. And I believe investing in robust HR technology is. And I think if you combine 1 and 2, you have a very significant number. No one is saying it's not a priority, but you do have a considerable number, which is saying it's nice to have, but it's not critical right now. And this is exactly where I see, especially even with our small size clients that we're working with, they're largely expert organizations, or they're essentially, one of them is a listed company, which is doing exceedingly well. And we'll be influencing them on this one. And we can see that they want to do it, but it's not a top priority, especially as they're going around acquiring other businesses to be able to grow at this time. And I think that is perhaps one of the challenges that we have, which is to be able to bring this into focus as a priority. I'm just wondering, anyone from the panel wants to comment on this?
That's not right. I think it is much more the timing issue, because considering the small set of companies that we are looking at, and considering the peculiar cash flow situation that most of the small companies due to the pandemic are currently experiencing, this response is much more a reflection to that than a larger perspective of whether to invest or not on a good day.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which business?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Which business? I mean, other than, of course, boutique businesses may start small, but do they necessarily want to continue being small? Not really. So it's a very point in time response. There has to be a long journey, and organization's willingness will be according to where you want to go.
Right. No, so, Adil, you and I saying exactly the same thing, which is it's not that it's not a priority, it's a timing thing. And, it's got to do with how they're poised in terms of wanting to be able to take this up. A very quick, let's take the one which is on reports and analytics.
Grammar and spelling are important.
Take 19. So we take 19 for me.
I think somebody in the audience was wanting to come in, I think.
Yeah, sorry. Did somebody want to come in? Go ahead. Just unmute and come in. Hi. Did anyone want to speak at this time? Okay. Just in the interest of time, let's move forward. I just wanted to take this one up, which is accurate reports and analytics. Very large number said yes. Small number said good to have, but can manage without it. Give me your own experiences around this. Is this one of the motivators to be able to make the decision to bring in the technology, that the integrated platform will give me essentially analytics and data which I otherwise cannot generate? So,
and to add to that question, we're also curious about what kind of analytics are people really looking for, are decision makers really looking for? Because reports and analytics is a fairly broad term. Some amount of nuances on what exactly are they looking for? What do they want to see about their people data?
All right, great stuff. So is there anybody on the online who is here? Please unmute or type the solution. We want to type your response so that we're able to understand this better. What kind of reports are you actually looking for? So which reports? So while it's great to say we want analytics and reports, which kind were you actually thinking about or looking for?
So
while you're responding, while you're trying to respond to that, I'm going to try and bring in, Jayashree, Risha, Vasu, Adil, anything that you'd like to add on? Which analytics do you see clients looking for?
I think in my experience,
why don't Risha go ahead?
Risha,
go ahead.
In my experience, we were running a talent review exercise for the sales organization. This is pre-transformation. So we had this one analyst sit down and like for a week, go through various parameters that wanted to be displayed in the talent dashboard, right? Because what my CMO wants to look at is a person's performance in terms of sales achievement, collection, their timeliness, market growth, and so on and so forth, and new accounts that they are able to bring in. All of those kind of decisions, along with what's their performance been and what's their perception in the organization, the typical that goes in any talent dashboard. But this was very important for them, for the CMO to make that decision with regards to planning the sales organization succession planning. Right. So those are the kind of talent metrics that could prove to be really helpful to business leaders also while planning for the longevity or the BCP of the organization in the long term.
Right.
Sujaya, if a system designer was to find a cookie cutter answer to this question, I would say you're fooling yourself. All right. Because this is such a specific organization led challenge. It is like going to a doctor with an ailment. If your ailment is in the stomach, if it is in the head, if it is in the blood pressure, different reports are required, right? So can you make a prediction of which report and what the doctor will ask for? No. So analytics is a broad brush thing. So what your system should have is of ability and flexibility to be able to accommodate whatever the client wants from us. Like, for example, Sujay and I worked in an organization where the top men wanted to look at different things. Leaders in different businesses wanted to look at different things. So it's not about trying to find a cookie cutter of what should be analytics.
Yeah, but there are typical kind of analytics that organizations look for. And I think it would be a good curiosity question to be able to understand which kind of analytics do smaller organizations actually look for, which ones are
smaller organizations.
Analytics, payroll and attrition.
That's it.
Analytics.
Very, very basic stuff. Basic stuff is what you want.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're speaking over, so we can't get what you're saying. What are you saying?
My apologies.
Yes. No, go ahead, Vasu. What are you saying?
Okay. Small organizations looking at very basic stuff.
Yeah.
Is the monthly headcount report, what's happening,
headcount.
how many people have I hired, how many people have I hired, how many, what is the kind of people who have left, how many people have left from the company, are there open positions, what is happening to that? Because for them, people on the seat, people working at their posts are very, very important for them, right? I'm yet to see whether they want complex analytics. And the biggest challenge is, please understand this. If the CEO or the MD of a small company wants the data, he gets the data. He gets accurate data because there are 10 people working to get it right and give it to the big man. Now, it doesn't require complex platforms to get it right. If you have a simple platform that can deliver that, he's happy with it. Reports, analytics, and the way we understand analytics has become big time only in big organizations, where I can tell you, I have spent more than 3,000 man days just getting data right in an organization where we put in the digital system. So that's the kind of challenge you have. Personal file transferring data to the platform and then getting it to be of this thing. But let's wait for two more people from the audience to come in. I think Pramila raised a hand, and I think Vikram has raised a hand. So
Pramila,
I'd rather get them in.
Yeah, it would be lovely. Pramila, please unmute because we've been waiting to listen to the respondents speak. So please unmute and come in.
have to excuse myself. I have a hard stop for another meeting.
Yes, I get that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adil. Thank you.
Yes, bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Adil.
Yeah. Pramila, can you unmute and speak?
Yes, hi everybody, and thank you for all this feedback that we're getting. To this very question, now this is something I faced personally. What happened was in my previous organization, this was a basic challenge. Getting to analyze the entire data. Now, what happens is like there was a question from one of the audiences where they say, how do we manage different platforms when it's an overload of different platforms? And my suggestion has always been that there should be one platform and everything should be integrated in it. Now, what happens is, me being into learning and development, when I want to put up surveys for every learning project, be it change management, be it IT, be it a normal operational survey, I'm realizing I have to put in different kinds of questions. Now, some can be multiple questions. Some can be questions which I need answers to, like what you did. What if I had to type an answer? So that analytics was not coming into the picture. And it was getting very difficult. So I think to get the organization rolling into what their future is, we need to have different aspects of placing our surveys to get the analytics right. And that goes to HR and learning and development. That's what I think. And that's why it's a very, very important aspect.
So Pramila, just a quick question. How many people do you have in your organization?
6,000.
There you go.
Okay.
That explains it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the size versus the scale of the organization and the importance of analytics are directly proportional.
Okay. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
That's where the problem is, yes.
Okay, lovely. I think with that, I'm just mindful of the time, and, we have one more raised hand. Vikram, would you put it on the chat and I'll try and pick up what you have to say. Happy to be able to pick that up. I'm just mindful that we are 10 minutes beyond time and I want to be able to curtail this. So I think with that, thank you very much, everyone. Be great to have had all of you stay back and to be able to contribute and to continue this conversation. Obviously, many rounds of such conversations to be able to get more clarity and to be able to get a bigger fix on how it is that many of us can be able to rally around the smaller organizations who can start off on this journey, or if you're already on this journey, to build it up so that you're able to kind of create more sophisticated processes and systems. We've got Vikram here, and Vikram saying, let me try and take using data elements to generate multidimensional reports and align with trends is another need. So using some data elements so that you can generate multi-dimensional reports so that you have more kind of data points, and aligning it with the trends is another need that organizations have. So thank you, Vikram, for being able to share that. And Madan says that this was a wonderful session and they've been really super views shared. Earlier on, Akhil Basrai was here and he was talking about how meaningful this session is because it's going into more granular details. So thank you, everyone. I think the panelists have just been so wonderful. Thank you very much. And all of you who contributed to the to the survey questions. Thank you for that. I hope you have been able to access the collaterals that we posted on the group from the Quess Corp organizations. And I think at this point, I'll just take the opportunity to thank the panelists. Thank you, Vasu. You were really wonderful. Thanks for staying till the end. Vignesh, you are very inspiring with all that you do. And I hope, thank you for adding value to this conversation. Risha, you really brought your experiences to the fore, and thanks for the generosity. And Jayashree, thank you again for staying till the end and making this session so meaningful. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to Quess Corp for bringing this session to you, and also to start us off on this journey of accelerated learning for mid and small size organizations. So big thank you to Meeta, Karant, and to Tejasvi for all the support. And so we'll keep going on this journey, and we'll call you back for another round of themes that interest mid and small size organizations. We'll try and create some live interactions like we did today to be able to generate solutions. And thank you, everyone, for spending your Friday afternoon, late afternoon, and evening with making these very interesting and invaluable contributions. Good luck to all the small and medium-sized organizations who joined us today and the others to be able to keep up on your technology journeys. And I'm going to sign off here. Take care.
Can I just say a quick one?
Yes.
Sujaya, wonderful anchoring of the whole session, as
Thank you.
always. Very refreshing and very gripping. I mean, and keeping it all very tight. Excellent job. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Vasu. Take care, everybody, and have a lovely weekend. Stay safe, and we'll all be in touch for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, Sujaya ma'am, for a great session. Wonderful learning from everyone.
Thank you, Yashwant. Take care. Take care. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.